Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, we forgetting, man. I forgot. I'm thinking this is the over with.
Yep.
I forgot the SEC.
The biggest one, really.
I love the SEC, man.
Go ahead and I'll just.
I mean, it's
do
a
the
lot
top
of
four.
different ones.
Right.
It's a lot of different ones in this as well. Auburn, Mississippi State, Kentucky, LSU.
Those are the top four.
But if I had to give it to somebody, I'd probably just give it to Kentucky.
Yeah,
I think it's going. If I had to pick like the championship, it probably would be Kentucky and Auburn. But
yep,
I'll give it to Kentucky.
And those are the 1 and 2. Other notable SEC schools: Florida, maybe Alabama. Some Wednesday teams: Georgia, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. Those are the bottom 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with you. I'm also going to say Kentucky is going to win the SEC, and really, I can see Kentucky going to the Final Four if they can click at the right time, because that's all college basketball is. It doesn't matter
clicking at the right time.
Clicking in late February to get you a good seed for your conference tournament, and then clicking in March to win your conference tournament and go win the big one. So I'm excited, man. We're going to have a lot of college basketball action for you guys because this is the most exciting time of the year.
Of course.
It starts next week, so I'm excited.
All right, man. It's a lot going on in the NFL free agency, but one thing that's going on is the Cowboys reportedly offered Dak Prescott $33 million a year with $105 million guaranteed.
Is Dak Prescott worth that much?
Man, I mean, no, I'm not going to lie to you. He isn't. And the reason why he isn't is because he's been here for a minute now. And when he first got out, and I said this in previous podcasts, when he first graduated from Mississippi State, I was like, hey, he's legit.
Right. Look out for this guy.
So, but after watching him a couple years, it's been times where he should have definitely taken the Cowboys further than they've been. They haven't really, I don't know. They got to make more noise than.
They barely make the playoffs first, and when they do make the playoffs, they don't really do anything. So,
no, I don't think he's worth that, but we see people pay these players all the time, all type of stuff.
I know.
Sometimes it's not even about what you play like. Sometimes you might just have the right name, and they'll give you enough money.
I don't know if he's necessarily not worth it. I'll read you guys off his stats this year. He's coming off the best year of his career.
$105 million guaranteed.
Right. He threw 4,900 yards, 11 interceptions, and 30 touchdowns with a rating of 99.7, the best of his career. But you look at a guy like Carson Wentz, he's guaranteed $108 million. So you think Dak Prescott should make less than a guy like Carson Wentz, or you think he should make more? I personally don't know. But if you look at the Cowboys, what are you going to pay everybody else? It's not like you just have Dak Prescott. You have Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, that offensive line that they have that's
true as well.
Arguably better
I wasn't
than the
even
Colts.
thinking about it from that standpoint.
Right. They have an offensive line arguably better than the Colts' offensive line, and they have DeMarcus Lawrence on defense, etc. So,
I don't know, though. The difference between what you said earlier, like with Dak Prescott and with Carson Wentz, I mean, I know that the Cowboys have money in general. We know that.
They can spend some money.
Yeah, we're not worried about that. But the big thing is, I mean, the Eagles got a recent Super Bowl under the belt
over the Patriots.
They got one under their belt.
Yeah.
It's not one under the Cowboys' belt, and that
they can barely make the playoffs.
That's why I say he's not worth that 105 because that's a lot of money. $105 million to be guaranteed. You're getting this regardless of anything. You can get injured; It doesn't matter. You're getting this. That's a lot of money.
I agree with you. And then you got to think: is Dallas? They might not be an NFL powerhouse, or they even an NFC powerhouse. Because you look at the Packers, the Seahawks, the Niners. Like you would think the Cowboys would be up there in that discussion with their look at their roster, but the Cowboys can barely make the playoffs. So, yes, they have all this money to spend on their players, but their players aren't producing any division wins or division titles. They can barely make the playoffs. They can barely make it to the championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. So, Dallas is there, but they're nothing special, I don't think.
And I can agree with that. And I feel like as a quarterback, that falls on you because that's what people are going to look at. You're the figurehead of the team. You and the head coach. So when things go wrong, they're going to look at the quarterback or they're going to look at the head coach.
Yes,
that's
sir.
always how it's going to be. So that's why I just say he's not worth that. Wentz, I don't know. I could say Wentz is guaranteed because he's a starting quarterback for a team that at least won recently.
Yep.
And, so.
But you got to remember, they won that Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Yeah, I know that. But, still, he's on the team.
Right.
And he's their quarterback as of now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, Nick Foles ain't even there anymore. Yeah. He's barely on the Jags. So I don't know, man. The Cowboys are a whole mess. I try and stay out of the Cowboys discussion just because of the whole.
You're gonna be over here. It's gonna be a mess. You talk about it. The conversation is gonna be a mess, like what they got going on. So.
Right. But shout out. I mean, if Prescott, if you get over $100 million, that's more than me.
Hey, that's another thing. I'm not bashing anybody. Like I know those people who they bash like professional athletes and musicians and actors. I understand why they pay you that much. You got millions of people coming to see you, or thousands, or whatever it is. So I understand that. I'm just saying he's not worth $100 million. He's worth a lot of millions, though. So I'll give him that.
We'll go to the playoffs and then we'll talk. How about that?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Dribbles with the left hand, the three-pointer up, the three-pointer down!
To the 20, following that blocker. What a run!
We're about to take it back.
All right, man. Dozers, did you know? Let's go back in time a little bit, man. 1984, since his championship week, the 25th SEC men's basketball tournament, and I just predicted this for this year.
For real.
Kentucky, man, they beat Auburn 51-49. So let's see what happens this time.
Of course.
All right, man. We're going to take a look at this last story for today, last regular story at least. 4 Ohio State football assistants are expected to make over $1 million next year. And, man, we talking about money again.
Yeah.
One thing I hear a lot of is coaches are being overpaid. Would you agree? Because right now, Ryan Day, who is Ohio State's head coach, he's the highest paid state employee in the state of Ohio.
That's nuts.
And it's really like that in a lot of states. In Indiana, the highest paid state employee is the IU head basketball coach.
Archie Miller? Okay.
Yes. And then it's like that in
I can imagine.
Alabama, obviously Nick Saban, and then so it's a coach or a state representative that's the highest paid in every state.
Well, the thing that stands out to me, do you remember, we were just talking the other day and I was naming, we were talking about Kurt Mallory's salary and their assistant salary.
Yeah.
It's like over like $200 and $100,000. Then you talk about Ohio State, which I know.
They produce a lot more.
Facts. But 4 assistants are making over $1 million. That is
You don't even need
nuts.
another job. I'll be like, all right, this is fine. I don't even need to go get a head coaching gig. I'm already making $1 million over here. So
that's insane. I mean, I don't think they're overpaid because Ohio State football is on another level.
It's that big, yes.
Facts. That's NFL type, in my opinion. But I wouldn't say they're overpaid. Now, if they get all this money and then they don't produce, they don't get to the college football playoffs, they kind of decline, well then yes, they'll be overpaid at that point. But if they're getting this much money and they're producing national championships, it's fitting.
I understand.
So we'll see.
And it's because when you produce national championships, you're producing money. People are going to come watch you next year.
Yes, sir.
You're the reigning national championship. Or even if you're just making, I'm not going to lie, in college football, winning the championship, you don't even got to do that. You make it to that top 4 and you battling with them.
Right. You're already there.
You're doing good enough.
Yep.
You're producing the school enough money, to be honest. So that's just, I don't believe they're overpaid either.
It's an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they produce championships, hey, you pay them as much as they want. Really, I don't
understand that too.
All right. Lastly, we'll talk about the Pacers spotlight. Hey man, we're rolling. Last night they beat the Mavericks 112-109 to end the 5-game road trip. And the best part about it is we went 4-1 over this road trip.
Yes,
everyone was saying at least go 3-2, at least go 2-3. No, we're gonna go 4-1. The one loss in Milwaukee against the number 1 team in the league. I will take it.
Yes,
I'm so proud of the Pacers.
You were very. If you guys got to watch Baylee watch that game, he was mad. He was like, "Wow."
The Milwaukee game, yeah, that was some bull.
Wow,
that was some bull. And then another thing, the Pacers have won 8 of the last 10. Remember they were on that 6-game losing streak.
Yes.
Everyone was panicking. You snap your finger, we're 8 of the last 10, back on track. Granted, we're not the healthiest team right now. Brogdon's out, McDermott's out. Warren is iffy. Even Oladipo's iffy, but they both played in Dallas.
The best thing I can say, though, about the win that I was impressed with, man, is the defense, like, closing out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of defense, man.
That will win you championships.
Of course.
That will win you championships. They held Dallas scoreless in the last 3 minutes of the game. Luka Doncic, yes, he dropped 36 points on us, but he had like 4 or 5 shots to close the game. Yeah. All missed, all well defended by the Pacers. Miles Turner got some blocks. The final 3 minutes of the game, the Dallas Mavericks were at home. They didn't score. Now, the Pacers, on the other hand, Oladipo scored the last 6 points. He hit 2 really clutch mid-range jumpers, one of them to put us up with like 40-something seconds left. Just a routine off a double screen. Oladipo pick and pop that we've seen forever. He actually hit it. And then you look at Sabonis. He set a Pacers double-double record, his 50th of the season. He had 20 points, 17 rebounds. If you look at the box score again, Miles Turner, he also had a double-double. It's just when our bigs are playing like that and Oladipo's playing like he was, TJ Warren actually had a really good game too, but he fouled out right before the last Dallas point that they scored at that 3-minute mark. TJ Warren actually had 3 fouls in one possession. He had 3 fouls, and then after one possession, he got 3 more fouls. He was out of the game, which was crazy. Dude, it was crazy how it happened.
But I mean, you know, seeing people foul out is one of the
right.
That's just such a. Why would you want your game to end that way?
Especially a guy like TJ Warren. But it proved that we didn't really need him in the moment. Shout out to Victor Oladipo. Shout out to the Pacers defense. Got a huge win. It's hard to win in Dallas, first of all. They're back up to 5th in the standings. They're 2 games behind Miami for 4th place. And you listen, we're going to play a little audio for you. Victor Oladipo talks about just how big this win was and moving forward.
Definitely. It's a tough road win. It's a really good team over there, especially at home. So it just shows our potential, especially when we have everybody healthy. So we just got to continue to keep going, keep getting better, man. There's still a lot of season left, still a lot of room to grow, still a lot of things we need to get better at. But, you know, we're on the up, man. We just got to keep rising one day at a time.
Man, that makes me so happy when I hear him talk like that.
Talk like, yeah, we got a lot of season left.
Yep.
I like that, too, because it shows, you know, that that they're not complacent. But one thing that he said, just to expound on what you said, man, is just it's hard to beat Dallas. It's hard to beat this team when they're home. So it's it gives them confidence as they move forward. That's another thing that I think some people don't really look at that.
Yep. And he also noted in that audio, he said, especially when we have people healthy, how special this team is. They haven't really had that yet, and we're still finding success. Imagine we have a fully healthy Brogdon, Oladipo, Warren, Turner, and Sabonis lineup. Smacking. But Brogdon can't stay healthy. Vic can't get healthy yet. He's showing signs he's improving.
Takes time, yeah.
Exactly. We've talked about that. And then Warren, he's had some injury problems. So even though the Pacers have dealt with all these injuries, they've still done a really good job. They had that little speed bump when Vic came back, the 6-game losing streak. That's already behind us. But this team's special, man, and I'm excited. But
they got injuries they got to deal with tonight as well because they play the Celtics tonight.
Big time game tonight at home.
Very, very big. But Brogdon's out. McDermott is doubtful. Oladipo questionable. So, you know, injuries are going to – I mean, everybody deals with injuries.
Pacers are used to it by now.
So, you know, that's just something you gotta.
Especially Indiana fans. I mean, we dealt with the Colts injuries all season, then the Pacers start, and then they've had injuries all season. But tonight's Celtics game, this and the next game, because the next game we have on Saturday is against the Sixers. We'll talk about that next episode. But are very important for the Pacers in this late season push. Like I said, we got up to 5th, but if we can get rolling now, we have a lot of games in the month of March where we're playing Eastern playoff teams. We're playing the Celtics, the Sixers, the Heat. These are the times where we have to establish our dominance and just show the league and really the Pacers organization within that they're ready for the playoffs now. They can compete with any of these teams.
A big thing, though, for me, like if you had to ask me, like, all right, so what do the Pacers have to do to win
against the Celtics?
Yeah, obviously they got to stop Tatum. We already know that.
Facts.
But the big thing is they got to out-rebound them because they already are out-rebounding them like game to game. So if they can out-rebound them this game, they got the ball the most.
Yeah.
You can score.
That's been the Pacers' problem all year, not necessarily defensively, but giving teams offensive rebounds, giving teams second-chance opportunities against the Pacers. And over these last 10 games that they've won 8 of those games, they are finally out-rebounding teams. They're finally getting those rebounds that you have talked about all season. So if they can keep it up, it'd be huge, especially to start, because they're back home. They haven't been home in 10 days.
And Boston, you back home, you dealing with a Celtics team that's coming off of a loss.
Yep.
If you look at the last 5 games, Boston is